So what do we talk about?
The games.
What? No, that's not our intro.
Oh, or is this whole thing not already our intro? I don't know. How'd you sleep?
I have no idea.
You don't know how you slept?
I don't.
What do you mean?
I don't know how I slept. On the bed.
Well, I would imagine as much.
How did you sleep?
I don't know.
See? Exactly. It's not an easy answer.
Yeah. I mean, I think I slept fine. Like, it's the same as every other night.
Were you tired?
No. I mean, when I woke up, yes.
Well, isn't everyone tired when they wake up?
I don't think so. Usually I'm not tired when
You're
I wake up.
telling me that people wake up and they're not tired?
I mean, to an extent, but it dissipates pretty quickly. Like, once I get up.
Wait, that's for you? You wake up in the morning, you're mildly tired, and then you're fine. What's the time frame here?
Well, I don't know. By the time I get downstairs, usually I'm fine.
What? You mean you're not just like consistently tired?
No,
You just get tired later in the day?
Yeah, pretty much.
That concept does not make sense to me.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
I wake up absolutely exhausted, and then I remain absolutely exhausted. And then I drink coffee, and I'm like less exhausted, but I'm still tired. And then I just remain tired until nighttime, and then nighttime rolls around, I get into bed, I'm no longer tired, takes forever to fall asleep, start the cycle over again.
Yeah, no. Usually I'm awake right in the morning. I'll have like a little bout of tiredness, and then I'm awake for the rest of the time, and then I get tired at like 2 hours later. But recently I've been fine. Like for the most of the day till like 8 o'clock, and then I start to get real tired.
I don't understand how people wake up and they're just not tired.
I don't know. Maybe we should get into the games though. Welcome to the Boofisch podcast.
I'm Fish, and I play cozy games.
I'm Cereal, and I play everything else.
Together, we like discovering and sharing new games you might not have heard about.
Today, I brought Loftia. That's not true. I brought the other game that we're talking about, Jusant.
Spoilers.
Well.
Right off the bat, telling them the second one.
If you want to hear about Loftia, stay tuned.
What's Jusant? Jusant? Maybe
Jusant,
I should say it right.
Yeah. Jusant is a climbing exploration puzzle game from Don't Nod.
Don't nod? Like, do not nod?
Do not nod. The contraction of do not. Don't nod. Well, there's no actual apostrophe. But if that name sounds familiar, you might have seen their other game, Life is Strange 1 and 2. They didn't do Before the Storm. Before the Storm was a different company, which is like Chloe's story.
What is Before the Storm? And how does it relate to Don't Nod if they didn't create that game?
Well, if you played Life is Strange 1, there's a character named Chloe, and Before the Storm follows Chloe and her story before the storm that happens in the first game. So it's essentially a prequel.
So there's two games that are made by different companies?
Yes. Yeah. Life is Strange is made by Don't Nod. Before the Storm is made by somebody else.
Anywho, back to Jusant.
Right, Jusant. So it's a climbing exploration game. Lots of puzzles. The puzzle is to get from point A to point B, so essentially you start off at the bottom of a cliff or a tower or something, and you can always see where you're going, and you're trying to get from point A to point B, climbing using your climbing tools like rope and your hands and feet.
By always seeing where you're going, are you saying that we don't climb into a cliff that's dark with no light?
Well, I don't know. You could. There is.
So there's potential to not see where you're going.
Well, I mean, what I mean by that is you can get into like caves and stuff, where I'm assuming you can still see, but you're trying to get to the top of a tower to like blow on a horn or something. Which
Horn
does
blowing?
I don't know what it does, but that's kind of the premise of the story, is getting to the top of the tower and activating them to kind of figure out what's going on or what happened to the civilization that built all this stuff.
So there's a story to this.
There is. It's not like a traditional narrative-driven story. Like I don't think there's any dialogue. From what I can tell, I haven't seen anybody talking. So it's just kind of you and this little blue companion Um,
You get
that
a little friend?
yeah, he's like this little blue frog-looking thing, and
How does the frog stick to the wall?
well, it doesn't. There's a little backpack that,
You have a frog in a backpack?
but it's made of water. It's like a
Wait, hold on. Your backpack is made of water?
no, the frog is made of water. It's not
Fascinating.
really a frog. It's called a ballast, and it kind of acts as your guide.
So it's like a mythical creature in the world.
Yes,
Okay.
and so you and your little water frog companion are just trying to get up to these towers to activate them and figure out what happened to the civilization. But it's not like I said. There's no dialogue, so you're kind of learning the story through visual cues and like picking things up and looking around, seeing, telling, figuring out what the story is.
So as you're climbing up this cliff face, is it?
From what I can see, that's all they've really shown. So it's like cliffs and caves and stuff like that.
So as you're climbing up these cliffs and going through the caves, you're picking up on this story that's kind of in the background of it. So what you're saying is the majority of is a puzzle climbing game, and you learn about the ancient civilization through your climbing journey.
Yes, essentially. Yeah, so you'll pick up these shells that you can listen to and it'll kind of give you I think audio clues as to like what happened in that area. So it kind of like holds memories of what happened. And so you're listening to the memories of like what's going on like way in the past. So you can see like, oh, there's children laughing, so this is kind of where the children used to play, and there's like tools being used, so you'll be like, oh, this is where they like made their tools or like carved paintings and stuff like that.
Interesting. So how does the companion, you said it acts kind of as a guide. What does that mean?
Well, he sits in your backpack, but he'll give you clues as to like where you're supposed to be going, and
Like if you're stuck, maybe?
yeah, what I'm assuming is they didn't really show anything in any of the videos that I saw, but like I'm assuming it's kind of like a Navi from um, Legend of Zelda. Like he's just kind of like your tutorial guide kind of person.
Okay. And then what's the climbing mechanics kind of like? Are there handholds? Do you have you said a rope? What are the mechanics of all of that?
Well, the handholds are like little jagged things that will come out of the thing. They're very clearly things that you can grab onto, like little rocks that you can grab onto and climb. And so,
Like in real life with cliff sides.
yeah, yeah. And so you're using these indicators to, and the triggers are correspond to your hands. So like the left trigger is your left hand, the right trigger is your right hand. So you use the triggers in combination with the stick to grab onto things. And along with that, you have a rope that you can, that once you start climbing, it'll put a point at the bottom of the thing automatically. So you automatically will have a rope. And then from there, you start climbing, you can put little nodes in, which kind of act as like checkpoints and things that you can use to swing off of.
It really just sounds like a climbing simulation game. I mean, if you're having to use the triggers to actually climb up, that could be pretty difficult.
Essentially, I think that's where the challenge is really going to come from, is using the tools available to you to figure out how the fastest and easiest way to get up is.
And how does the rope come into play? You said it goes from point A to point B. Are you are you placing the rope somewhere, or is the rope kind of just following you along?
Well, the rope follows you along, but you can also attach it to the wall, and you get a certain amount of like nodes or something that you can attach. So you start climbing, you put a node down, then there's slack on the from the end of the rope to that node, and then you start a new rope. So you can then swing from that node, or it kind of acts as like a checkpoint. So like this in this game, you don't really die. You can just lose progress, kind of like going up, but not as extreme.
Interesting. So it sounds like they really did some research into what it's like to climb in real life using belays and all of those various things. I mean, I've done a little bit of climbing indoors, of course, not actually outdoors. I'm not that adventurous, but it sounds like they've really looked into the mechanics of this in real life and put it into the game.
Yeah, they did a lot of extensive research in actual like real life climbing and talked to a lot of experts. They even are have like a mechanic for stamina where when while you're climbing you have so much stamina, and to refresh your stamina, you like shake your arm out to like get the lactic acid out of your like move the lactic acid out of your arm so you can continue on.
It's always nice when game creators or developers do research into this to try and make it fairly realistic and true to what it's like, especially for it being, I mean, it's an indie game.
Yeah. They're Don't Nod is not a huge company. I mean, I wouldn't say they're small. They're probably like a double A company as opposed to like EA or something like that. But they did also really put a lot of time into the rope mechanics where the rope will realistically interact with the environment and your character. So I think it's shaping up to be like a really cool game actually, and it's really gorgeous. It kind of looks like a cross between Journey, if you've played that. It was like a PlayStation 3 exclusive indie game. Really gorgeous, and like Wind Waker. So it's kind of like cartoony ish, but more realistic cartoony, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I really like the look of this game, and I trust the developer. Like, I love Life is Strange. They really know how to make um, compelling story games. So I think it's in good hands, and it's just like a kind of a cozy game. You don't really need to go too crazy and be super stressed out, go super sweaty with this game.
You're not fighting people or anything
No,
like
there's no
that.
combat. It's really just an exploration. You're just kind of solving the puzzle of how to get from point A to point B using the tools that you have.
I mean, I could see it getting a little stressful for me if I keep falling and I can't grab onto the handholds there.
Yeah, I think they give you enough tools where it shouldn't be too stressful though.
Might have to practice a little bit before you actually get into the game.
Yeah.
Are there multiple cliff sides or is it just one cliffside that you're continuously climbing?
I believe it's separated into different levels because each objective is to just get to the top of a tower. And so from the one gameplay that's like 20 minutes long that the developers show, like it's literally one cliffside and you can see the one tower that you're supposed to get up to. So I'm assuming it's kind of going to be that kind of formula of you start at the bottom, there's a tower in the distance, and you just go to that to activate it.
By in the distance, you mean up.
Yes.
So when does this game come out?
October 31st, and it's day one on Game Pass. It's coming to the Xbox Series S and X, PlayStation 5, and Steam, so it's not coming out on the last generation consoles.
So you
Uh,
can only play this on the newer Xbox consoles? You can't access it on the previous ones?
Correct.
Okay.
I think most developers are starting to move away from supporting the older consoles at this point.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, that's what Xbox had said. He said by the end of, I think, 2023, they wanted to stop development on anything previous to.
It's unfortunate for the previous
Yeah,
console
especially
owners.
since, I mean, it's become a lot easier to get these newer consoles, but they are expensive. So,
Do we know how much it's going to be?
not yet, surprisingly. It's only a month away, but there's no official price. But it is on Game Pass, and I don't expect it to be a full price game. So it wouldn't expect it to be the $70. I'd say somewhere between the 30 and 40 range.
I mean, this sounds like a game I could see you playing. I don't know if it's a game I would play, but I would always give it a try. I'm always down to try something.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, it's a gorgeous game, so you could have some fun just
Right up your
watching.
alley.
Yeah,
You do like the visuals, the artsy type of games.
yeah. So what do you bring to the table?
Food?
What kind of game?
Oh, a board game?
A video game?
Oh.
Yeah, like what the podcast is.
Do you bring video games to a table?
You could. Switch is portable, so you could take that.
Well, I wanted to talk about Loftia.
Oh, I've never heard of this game.
You haven't? Are you
No.
sure about that?
No.
You're not sure about that? Well, if you're anything like me and you're on Cozy Gaming TikTok, which I know you're not, but I am, you've likely seen this game just sweeping over the Cozy Gaming community. It's literally everywhere. Every other TikTok, I swear, I see something about Loftia. It's basically a Solar Punk MMO, and it's a new game developer, QCloud Games. They basically just quit their 9 to 5 job. It's this couple that plays a lot of cozy style games, and they found this need in the cozy gaming world that they wanted to try and fill up with this new game that they decided to create called Loftia.
And you said solar punk. What exactly does that mean? Like
That's,
cyberpunk?
I mean, no. This game focuses a lot on just sustainability and renewable energies from different sources like wind power, solar power, hydroponics. It replaces traditional soil farming that you might find in games like Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, different things along those lines. So you're not digging into the ground. Instead, you're creating a vertical farming system. And you have to get into the details when you're farming in this game, like focusing on the pH levels, the temperatures, energy, nutrition, making sure that the water is maintained just right to be able to grow the crops that you're needing. So you're learning a lot about the different sources of sustainable energy
Mm,
that you can use not only in this game but also in the real world.
that's pretty cool. And I like when you can take away like real life skills from a video game.
And this one definitely is going to show you that specifically with their vertical farming system. I mean, vertical farming is definitely becoming a new age thing where it saves space, but it's a lot more complicated to learn, and a lot of people are unsure about it. So I'm interested to see how they integrate it into the game in real life.
Yeah, I mean, I did a whole project on vertical farming, and it's a very complex thing that I still don't understand, but maybe this game will.
Teach you a little bit more about vertical
Yeah,
farming more than your college class could teach
yeah,
you.
more than a whole college class that I spent weeks and weeks doing.
Well, this game looks super cute. I mean, it's inspired by games like Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley, Sims, Minecraft, so many different cozy games that you all know and love, and they wanted to put that together. The art style, to me, the way that I can best describe it is it's kind of a cross between Animal Crossing, where it's that cutesy tootsy kind of round shapes that you see, mixed with games like Palia, where it's a little bit more fully developed. You can walk around, there's a grid that you can set your items on. And I think the combination of those two is kind of the best way to describe what the art style is going to look like.
It's pretty cool. I'm always, yeah, like you said, I'm a pretty good sucker for some interesting art, unique art styles.
And this is definitely a little bit different than other games that I've seen. Overall, it's really cute. I mean, they do have animals that you can have in this game too. The animals are adorable. They literally have animals like capybaras.
I would definitely have a capybara for
I would have
sure.
the penguin that they have in there.
Oh, there's a penguin like sliding on the concrete.
Yes.
That sounds pretty painful for the penguin.
Hey, it's a fake world. You don't know. They could have ice on their belly or something.
Like an Iceman kind of
I
situation.
guess. Ice penguin.
Sure.
Well, they also have like alpacas. They also include robot pets too. Like one of them's named Wheelie, and it's just a little robot with wheels. It's got a giraffe costume on. They have another one called Waddle, and he's got a boba outfit on.
That is super adorable.
It's
Like a boba tea.
exactly. It's just like the boba tea, and he's round and small, and they plan to add so many different animals in here. And what's also really nice about this game is they have an animal sanctuary that you can adopt the animals from. But not only that, you can rescue endangered species in the world and reintroduce them by taking care of them into the world.
That's pretty cool. Honestly, I think that I've never really. I don't think I've ever actually seen that in a game, like a animal rescue. This was kind of got like also Zoo Tycoon elements almost.
In a sense, yeah, because there is a lot of focus on your little companions there. They don't do too much for you other than they just hang out. They're super cute, but you can take care of them in the real world.
Yeah, I mean that's mostly most games is there's not really too much other than like aesthetically for like pet companions. But still, I will always choose to have a pet companion rather than not having one. So I appreciate that.
What's also really cool about this game is it is an MMO, so you're going to be in a world with other players. So as you're walking around, you'll see other players playing the game, but you can partner up with three other friends to live in a communal house together. So you and three friends together will decorate your communal inventory space together in your home to make it your own.
That is very interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of like more than one person sharing a house. That's actually a really cool idea. Could
Could
end
cause
in
some
some
problems.
yeah, you could have some roommate issues arise from that, but
Be careful who you share your house with.
yeah, and
They
somebody
might move that plant to an area you don't like.
somebody not doing the dishes is going to cause some problems.
You never know. You can also get a job in this game.
Oh, I love getting jobs in games.
Like a part-time job, you could work at the cafe.
Oh, wait, actually?
Actually, yes.
That sounds fun, actually.
I don't know what the money system is like in this game yet. I couldn't find too much information about the currency and what you would actually purchase. I would imagine you'd be purchasing things to decorate your home, but yeah, you can get a job.
Interesting. Is there crafting and stuff like that?
I didn't see too much about crafting, so I don't know too much about that. Um, I know that there are going to be quests and tasks in here where you do have to bring materials to NPCs. For example, in their trailer, you have to bring materials to this person who is building a wind turbine. Don't know what the wind turbine is necessarily used for. Would imagine it's to help something in the world. But that's the most crafting that I've seen so far in this game.
But you're still like doing resource collecting, like chopping wood and mining and
Lots of resource collecting, and there's different islands that you can pop over to. We're not too sure what the islands are going to entail necessarily or what's going to be on them, but you go on these quests with your friends to collect these resources, bring back, and build these new items. So a lot of this is going to be like a Solar Punk MMO farming style game.
well, I mean that sounds pretty exciting. Is there any kind of release window or
It's pretty early in the development stages right now. They just closed their Kickstarter.
Kickstarter?
Kickstarter.
Oh, I've never heard of this.
Well, it's also known as Kickstarter.
Oh, okay, I have heard of that one.
And because it swept TikTok, they actually did incredibly well with their Kickstarter. They originally set their minimum goal to be $150,000 just to fund the game itself, but by the end of it, they reached over $1 million. So in total, it was just under 1.3 million that was pledged.
That is quite the overshoot of their initial goal. I mean, usually Kickstarters will go well beyond their goal because the cost of making a game is just so intense these days. But that is like a huge, huge, huge overshoot of the original initial goal.
I mean, there's lots of factors in this that are new to this cozy gaming world. We're starting to see games come out that are cozy MMOs, which is pretty new to this gaming community, and I think people are really looking forward to it. They want to do these farming things. They want to hang out with their friends while they're playing these games.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like the perfect opportunity. Like, I'm surprised there isn't something like this already. I mean, there is Palia, but
That's new, and it's only just came out, and it's still in its early access. It's not even fully released.
yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a shift in gaming as a whole, and there's not you're not seeing as many Call of Duties and battlefields and stuff like that, and people are more interested in stuff that's they could just hang out with their friends and not have to worry about bombs going off in their ears.
I mean, it's tailoring to a community of people who, in a sense, haven't been heard or haven't found something that they like. I mean, gaming in general is supposed to be just gaming and having fun with your friends and playing a game that makes you feel good as a whole. And I know that I can attest to that, to where I found games that I've liked, but I've always felt so kept out of that as a gamer. Like, I wouldn't be considered a gamer because I played games that aren't Call of Duty or shooter type games that are super popular and super well known like that. So I feel heard having these kind of games come out, and as you can see, I mean, it's being backed. There's other people who also feel this way, which it's the new games that are coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I think like being able to open up gaming to people who wouldn't necessarily you would think as gamers or would consider themselves gamers. They're like, oh, that looks kind of interesting, like hanging out with my friends and like making a little farm, like that sounds cool. Like, and I think that's really awesome to see. Like, being a gamer my whole life, like there was always that stigma of like, oh, you're not a gamer if you're not playing Call of Duty and you're playing Harvest Moon on the GameCube over there. Like, that's not a real game. It's like, well, now we're seeing a switch and a more of a transition into like gaming becoming more mainstream and more eyes are on it, so more people have access to it, and there's a lot more diverse kinds of games that anybody can find interesting and
Exactly.
accessible.
But back to the question that was asked. It's still in early development, and there will be alpha access, which begins in late 2024, which
Oh
shows you
wow.
just how early they are into this whole development thing. I did get myself into alpha access, so I will be playing this game when that comes out. I'm so excited to be able to share that with you all when we get to that point. And of course, we'll keep you updated with all of this journey. But after that, they will create an early access that starts in 2025. We just don't know exactly when.
And that would be like the beta phase, essentially.
Exactly. So that would be the beta phase. From there, we don't have any information as to when it would be fully released as a fully developed game.
So stay tuned. Keep it on your radar.
Exactly. This will be coming out on Steam, Switch, PC, and Mac. So there's different options here.
Oh, so no PlayStation or Xbox.
No consoles other than the Switch.
Interesting.
They even said that it might not be available on a Steam Deck, which is interesting because it's going to be on Steam.
That's very interesting.
But I think that they're working on that.
A crazy game that would require too much.
I mean, it's a pretty fully developed game. If you watch the trailer or do any looking into it, there's so much in this game. I could see that it's taking a lot of power, I guess, to run this game.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, we'll just have to keep our eyes on it. I think it's definitely something that people should keep on their radar. It sounds really interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can also customize your character with it too. So, although it is fairly limited as far as character customization, there's still options to it. You can change your clothing, you can change your hair, your skin, and your skin tone specifically, not, like your skin.
Right.
But you can change small features like your eyes and possibly even your nose. But other than that, you don't have like a body shape that you can change as of this moment. Of course, this game is still in early development. All of these things could change.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of newer games, especially in that kind of area, become like a lot more inclusive. So I'm excited to see how inclusive they are with as far as like hairstyles and body types. And
so far, it seems like they're trying to be inclusive. I mean, you can see in their trailer that they have a character who has a mechanical leg, even.
Oh, wow, so, that's super awesome. That's a player character?
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
So I think that they're definitely working on that. With the sustainability factor, they want it to be an inclusive game. There's so many positive things that I see coming out of this game that I think that it has a lot of potential to do really well if they execute it perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah, so no pressure. No pressure on this very small team that just was handed a $1.3 million.
Team of 20 developers. So pretty small and pretty new, but definitely looking forward to seeing what this game has to offer and seeing how they introduce specifically that vertical farming system and how easy it is to learn the pH levels, the temperature levels, because each crop specifically is going to be something different and you have to cater to each crop.
That sounds very complex, but also could be very rewarding. Like once you get stuff down, something so complex, getting that first harvest is going to be real satisfying, I bet.
Yeah. So overall, I think that this game has so much potential, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what else they have coming out. They're always updating us, always giving some more information, new features, and they also include the community. They ask people who are a part of their community, what do you think we should do? What do you want to see in this game? And from there, they include the options that the majority of their community is selecting. So they're really taking into account the people who are following them and what they want in the game.
Yeah, I think that's the advantage of like Kickstarter games like this is they're developing alongside the community, so they can get active feedback as they're working on it from the community who's going to be playing it, which I think is a really great model for how to develop a game. Doesn't work for everything, but games like this, I think it's really important and just a really good thing.
Well, maybe we can get you into playing this type of a game.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I don't know if this is exactly my style, but I'll give it a try. I still have Palia downloaded that I have not booted up once. So
hey, you haven't given any of my games a try yet. You keep saying that.
Well, to be fair, I did start off Disney Dreamlight Valley until you saw me play 5 seconds, and then you were like, "This is my game now."
That doesn't mean that you couldn't also play it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I guess that kind of wraps up our first ever podcast. Ooh. What do you think? How do you think it went?
Great. We'll see how it sounds in post, and how much work we have to put into editing all this stuff, but I think it went really well.
Yeah, I think that we did a good job. We did a lot of research into this to try and inform you guys of these new games, and we're really looking forward to doing this more often.
Yeah, should be fun. I always love looking into new games and sharing it with everybody.
That's our goal.
Yeah.
Especially games that aren't mainstream like Call of Duty. I mean, everyone knows when Call of Duties are coming out, and there's plenty of other people who can give you that information.
Yeah.
So,
which, I mean, I don't know. I like a Call of Duty every so often, but it's not something that I really am super into. It's just kind of whatever game. Not to shame any Call of Duty players out there.
for sure, there's no shaming of what game you like to play, but this is a new gaming world that we feel a lot of people don't have information on, and it's up and coming, and so we're here to try and help spread some information on new games that maybe you didn't even know about that could interest you.
Yeah.
So if you want more content from us, don't worry, we've got you covered. All of my socials can be found under Underwater Fish, and that's fish like FISCH. I stream on Twitch. I have a TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, Twitter/X, all of the places that you could go to find my social media. So check me out, give me a follow. It would be super appreciated. Or just come hang out on Twitch and watch the games that I like to play.
Yeah, and you can find me at TikTok. I don't really use it too much, but it's serial_killer_x, and that's serial CERIAL. Also on Twitch with the same username. Yeah, and you can come hang out with me there. All right.
Well, thanks so much for watching our first ever podcast. If you've made it this far. Oh, yeah. They're not watching. They're listening.
They're not watching.
Well, thanks for listening.
Thanks for watching with your ears.
Correct, because that's what you definitely do with your ears. The chaos continues. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that you enjoyed.
Bye.
Bye.